from San Francisco, California. This is the Rock and Roll Geek Show. This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name is Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Sunday, August 27th, 2017 when I'm recording. This is 7:18 p.m. I am now in Blue Ridge, Georgia at my stepdad John's house in the mountains. Left Nashville this morning, stopped off at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Looked around at we geeked out on hunting and fishing stuff, and here we are now in Blue Ridge, Georgia. As soon as we got here, we grabbed the fishing poles and headed out to the river and fished for some trout. Caught a few tiny little trout. I threw mine back because I thought it was too small, but John kept the ones that he caught. They were about the same size as I caught, so I should have kept mine, but I didn't. I'm now walking through the woods so I can have some privacy to record this. What I'm going to play for you today is one of the things that I did yesterday at the Rockin' Pod Expo. This guy Greg Magnus, who was singing for the Bad Company tribute band, Desolation Angels. Really cool guy. We have probably the exact same taste in music, so we just geek out on a little bit of music for about 8 minutes or so. So I'm going to play that for you. Tomorrow morning, listen to the woods. Very peaceful and very relaxing. Vacation has begun. Boy, do I need this. All right, here's Greg Mangus. I got a few other things to play for you in the next few days. Several people paid for co-host spots on the Rock and Roll Geek Show at the Rockin' Pod Expo, and yeah, all right. Well, here's Greg Mangus. I will come back and play a song. Thanks for listening, friends. This is day 28 of the dog days of podcasting. This thing's almost over. Seemed like forever. All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow, friends.
Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. Greg Mangus.
Hey, Greg Mangus. How's it going? We're already recording.
Pretty good. Pretty good. This is really a geek fest, and I'm having a ball. I'm fitting right in.
Geek fest. Do you live in Nashville?
Yeah, live in Nashville from New York City.
Greg Mangus was singing. Last night I went to the Tips show, for people who don't know, and there was this opening band that were playing Bad Company covers.
Yeah, it's a salute to Bad Company, Desolation Angels.
I don't really care about seeing a Bad Company cover band. I like Bad Company, but if I get there in time, I'll check them out. And I was fucking blown away, man, how good this band was. They were sounded better than Bad Company. It sounded way more rockin'. I told you this last night.
Yeah, praise indeed, man.
It was really awesome. Now, who's that guitar player? What's his
That
name?
is Scott Van Zandt, and all you Kiss fans here know Scott I think he wrote a bunch of stuff on Animalize. I think he might even be on Psycho Circus. I don't know.
You lost me after Rock and Roll Over.
Probably Dynasty. Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, probably after Dynasty.
But anyway, that guy was an awesome guitar player, and Sandy Gennaro.
Well, Sandy Gennaro is the Staten Island Freight Train. All that Pat Travers stuff. All the Cindy Lauper.
That's right. He played with Pat Travers. One of my bands that I'm in. We opened for them. He was playing drums for Pat Travers when we played with him.
Yeah, Joan Jett, he was on. I mean, he played with Michael Bolton. With Bruce Kulick was in the band with Bolton's thing. Yeah. Blackjack. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it was awesome, and the bass parts for Bad Company, really difficult bass parts to play, and that bass player was badass.
That's
too.
Joe Bass, Detroit, Michigan. Joe Bass. I'll tell you the thing about Bad Company. Boz is so underrated. Bless his soul.
Yeah, he was,
because he was the absolute boogie.
He played a Gibson, or not a Gibson, Ampeg AEB scroll head. I had that bass. I had the same bass.
Nice fat boogie.
Yeah, it's got a violin headstock. You could knock somebody over the head with that thing and kill them.
So, what's your favorite stuff? What was your absolute favorite?
Well, you're wearing an Angel shirt.
Yeah,
I was going to compliment you.
Heroes.
I love Angel. Stars is one of my favorite bands.
Dude, we're getting along just fine. Yeah.
Richie Reno had him on the show a couple of times. Great.
Dude, he's playing with a new buddy of mine, Jimmy Coons, in Jersey tonight.
Oh, you want a beer?
Yeah, I'd love a beer.
Right behind there's a cooler there with a bunch of Tecates.
Cool. Yeah.
John, get him a Tecate. Where's mine?
So I had this.
Hand me that my beer too. Excuse me. Please.
I had this thing in high school. I call them the Lost Five, the unknown five that got me through school. And I'm 53.
I'm 2 years older than you, so probably the same.
So Angel, Stars,
yes.
UFO.
Oh, please. Yeah. I had just had Pete Way on my show. That's my all-time favorite bass player.
Just finished his book. Literally finished his book 2 days ago.
Isn't it?
I love it.
He finishes the books talking about he still does coke.
Yeah, I know. But that's honesty is what needs to be done. The Babies, huge Babies.
So far,
fan.
you're right there with me. Michael Corby, it was devastating what happened to him.
Yeah. And then Thin Lizzy. Thin Lizzy was my band.
Right there.
Yep.
What's your favorite Thin Lizzy album? Renegade.
Well, I don't want to go. I have to go Jailbreak because it was my first one. I know there's great
that was
stuff.
my first too, but Renegade is my favorite.
Renegade is great,
place
and
in my heart. And Thunder and Lightning is great.
Thunder and Lightning. We do. I'm lucky enough to sing with the Rock and Roll residency here.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, with Phil Shallis and Jeremy Asbrock's Baby. And
do you know Al and Stacey Collins?
Oh yeah, great friends of mine. So Phil and I and Jer have a Thin Lizzy tribute band called Jimmy the Weed.
Oh, nice.
And we encore with Thunder and Lightning, and people lose their mind.
So you sing the Phil parts?
I sing the Phil parts.
You don't play the bass?
Don't play the bass, just we usually have different bass players, but those two twin Les Pauls, and we always have great drummers, Paulie Simmons, Christopher Williams, like all different great guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm in a band called the Butlers, and we play Bad Reputation, Boys Are Back in Town, of course Jailbreak, Don't Believe a Word,
Love 'em
and
all.
about 3 other ones that I can't remember right now off the top of my head.
Love them all. It's funny, you're wearing a Dan Baird and Homemade Sin shirt.
Yes.
That's maybe the best rock show I've seen in town here. It was unbelievable.
Dan Baird is one of the most talented people in the world.
Yep.
And his guitar player, Warner Hodges is a guitar player.
I love him.
That guy's a fucking monster, man.
The two of them together, it's just not fair. It's just not fair to the rest of us.
And Dan, we know Dan Baird's sick, right?
Yeah.
I flew all the way. Me and my buddies flew all the way to New York to see Dan Baird and Homemade Sin, like in April.
Right.
It was fantastic. We followed him around New York for a couple of shows. It was
Great band.
That guy is so underrated talent.
God, I love that you know Stars. I just love that you know Mike. And it's funny that Michael and I are friends on Facebook.
Michael Lee Smith?
Yeah.
Great. One of the best frontmen of all time.
I agree.
He's in my top 5 frontmen of all time.
I'm with you 100%. And his brother,
Rex,
used to come sing with me in New York, come and jam, and when he was doing Broadway. So I just still am a fanboy about all that kind of stuff.
Remember his band Rex?
Oh, yeah.
I saw them open for Ted Nugent. It was probably Scream Dream or else Cat Scratch Fever. And the guys, you ever see the band Rex play?
I saw them with Aerosmith.
They did this cool trick where the 2 guitar players held their guitars over their head and touched the headstocks together and made like a bridge. And then Rex Smith would leap over the bridge of guitar necks.
Rex
they were
will
badass.
He will tell you, because he became a quote-unquote teen idol and then Broadway, but he will tell you, last time I saw him here in Nashville about 8 years ago, he's still a rock singer. Like, he came out for a talent buyers thing and opened with Sammy's version of Rock the Nation.
Nice.
Like,
does he get along with his brother?
I don't think so, but it's not for me to say. I think there's been some kind of...
Because I know Michael quite well, and I always asked him, and we always geek out with him about Stars and Rex and stuff.
Yeah.
He never really would talk about it.
But he'll talk about Stars on Facebook, but he'll never... If I throw a Rex thing in, he just doesn't unfriend me. He just lets it go.
Those 2 Rex albums are great, man.
Yeah, I was just listening to 7 to 11, the song called 7 to 11, just as I was pulling in. Yeah, there's a bunch of weird, kind of unknown Lake and all these weird sort of...
They opened for everybody, but never made it big.
Yep.
I'm from the South. Blackfoot was one of those bands.
Yep, I knew Ricky a little bit.
There was a band called Axe.
I remember Axe.
One of those bands. Mother's Finest.
Now that is my other lost thing. I have a bunch of the EMF shirts, and they're the only band that I can think of that I would be afraid to play with. Because I saw them at Smith's Old Bar.
Those guys were virtuosos.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Black Oak, Arkansas was one of those people. Well, they headlined. But,
So I worked for the funk band Cameo for a long time. You remember the funk band Cameo?
Yeah.
So I wrote for them and worked for them. And I used to go to Atlanta. Their company was based out of Atlanta. And I would see Mother's Finest all the time. And I would weep. I know that
they
sounds
used to come down
corny.
and play Jacksonville all the time. They opened for everybody.
Yeah,
the
when I was in
Jacksonville
Florida, they would
Coliseum.
play down too.
Yeah.
At the High Lie.
Is that down in the South?
Down in South, down in Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
Where I
Okay.
played my first show with Cheap Trick. First time I ever opened a big
nice.
rock show. It was in
Nice.
high school.
Cheap Trick's my favorite band of all time.
Well, then you and I need to talk because those
That's
guys
why
are
you're here. You're
pretty,
sitting talking on the mic.
pretty good buddies of mine. Do you know Robin Zander made I guess made a video, I'll show it to you, where we played Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll.
Oh, yeah, he plays a lot of AC/DC.
Yeah,
covers.
and then he made this thing about how I should be the new singer in AC/DC when
Yeah,
all
I
that
was thinking
going on.
that last night when I saw you play.
He really made a passion
Did you ask
plea.
him to put a word in for you?
Well, he knows Brian really well, and he said,
that's the wrong guy to put a word in.
I know, but he said if anybody could do it and do it right, it would be Greg Mangus, and that's one of the things that the AC/DC management saw. And I pulled all the stops. I had like guys from NXS call them, and Deep Purple, and did everything I could, and almost got it, but not quite.
Axel beat you out?
Yeah.
You sounded better than Axel last night, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, Cheap Trick, one of the great. And Tom lives here, and I know
Yeah,
Dax
that's right,
and
yeah.
Rick. Just started to get to know Rick, and it was my first tour. Played with him in Florida. My very first big thing.
Yeah, nice. Well, Greg Mangus, nice to have you on the Rock and Roll Geek.
Thank you,
Show,
buddy,
friend.
man.
A
This has
fellow
been a
rock and
lot
roll
of fun.
geek, Greg Mangus.
And
Never-
absolutely.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Buy an Angel album.
All right. Hey, by the way, a plug. Where can we find more about you?
Just gregmangus.rocks.
Are you here signing?
No, I'm not famous. Everybody else is. I'm just a singer. I sing with them all.
What do you think about an event for nothing but music podcasts, a rock music podcast?
I kind of like it, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a place I can wear an Angel shirt, and
There you
somebody
go.
will come up and say something. It just shows you, too, as corny as this sounds, that it's not dead. It's not dead.
Yeah, rock and roll never. Okay, it's a cliche to say, but yeah.
Yeah, but
true.
it's just not dead. Our kind of rock.
Yes.
And you saw like the Tip, and you saw Denman, like those guys, the Young Bloods are ripping it up, and
Yeah, they're a fan. The Tip is so great. Those
Yep.
guys. All right, Greg Mangus, thanks for coming on.
Thank you,
friend.
brother.
All right,
Thanks for the
talk to you
beer.
later. All right, bye.
Well, the first time that I met you, you were only 17. But I had to put you down, 'cause I didn't know
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.